But cultivation is different. A person knows that exercise is good for health, but still one goes to the gym and does the same routine every day, or at least 5 days or 4 days a week. The same routine: lift something, push something, pull something. Nothing happens there, but change is here. So cultivation is important. Cultivation that is to be done over and over again. So Guru Sri Shankaracharya is kind enough to tell us how to go about it, what is to be thought of. That is why Vivekachudamani, it is so well done, so well written. And we have reached a portion where what happens when one realizes the self. So realizing self, do you even in normal time also we realize self, but we realize all wrong things. We realize I'm a body, I have a disease, I'm a mind, I have worries, anxieties, tension, all kinds of things. But we don't see what light, based on what we experience all these things. That is why we need to cultivate. Cultivation means to be aware. We have, if it is, we are dealing in the world, we have 1% awareness, but that awareness is to be increased, cultivating over and over again. And then only awareness remains. All darkness vanish. What happens then? That vidyate hridaya grantish chiddante sarva samshaya. All the knots of heart goes away. It's all vidyate hridaya granthi. All nuts are cut asunder. Chiddante sarva samshaya. All doubts go away. If we have a tinge of doubt, that means just we have not reached. One day it happened in Belur Math that a monk who was trying very hard, and one day he reported to Baburam Maharaj, Swami Premanandaji Maharaj, that Maharaj, today I have achieved what is to be achieved. Is it? Very good, very nice. Go ahead, very nice. Do you have doubt? Any doubt? No, I have experienced. Any doubt? Little? Then he said, I think I have achieved. Then Baburam Maharaj, you have not achieved. Hoini. That's not happened. That's not happened. You see, it is like this. When somebody calls us by name, do you have doubt? No. We say, Peter, yes, I am here. Immediate. Sakrit Vibhati. So when our awareness is full, then only our cultivation has complete. Before that, it's not. Vidyate hridaya chiddante sarva samshaya. All the doubts are removed. Only that? No. More. Yam labdhva chaparam labham manyate nadhikam tat. Attaining what? Attaining what? You have achieved everything. There is nothing more to be achieved. Yam labdhva chaparam labham manyate nadhikam tat. Yasmin sthito na dukkhena gurunapi vichali. When you are in that state, then no worries, no sorrow can touch you. What is the pramana? This is pramana. But even Sri Ramakrishna, today we read this. Grief and distress, M says, grief and distress of mind disappear if one has these experiences but once, even once. It's done. Master, that is true. Distress of mind disappears forever. I shall tell you a few things about yoga. But you see, the mother bird doesn't break the shell until the chick inside the egg is matured. The egg is hatched in the fullness of time. So even that happens when one tries a little. It is necessary to practice some spiritual discipline. The guru, no doubt, does everything for the disciple, but at the end, he makes the disciple work a little himself. When cutting down a big tree, a man cuts up almost through the trunk. Then he stands aside for a moment, and the tree falls down with a crash. This we see when you are rowing, when you when you reach shore. Before that, you are rowing, but reaching the shore, you lift your oars, and the boat touches the shore without any further effort. The farmer brings water to his field through a canal from the river. He stands aside when only little digging remains to be done to connect the field with the water. So this happens that the sorrow, the worry, all kinds of distress that disappears. As Sri Ramakrishna, when he was in Kashipur garden house, he was suffering from cancer. But when Hari Maharaj, Swami Turiyananji, reached and saw him, he said, but I see, Sri Ramakrishna said, see, I'm suffering from cancer. I'm suffering so much. I cannot eat. And Hari Maharaj said that, but I see you are in full joy. You are in bliss. Then he said, this rascal has caught me red-handed. And think of that incident when all the direct disciples wanted to taste a palm tree juice, but Sri Ramakrishna knew that there was a cobra. So to ward it off, Sri Ramakrishna ran like Hirbegi, like an arrow. He went there and removed that obstacle for his disciple. So apparently he was suffering, but in reality, that was not the case. So we'll go ahead, but before that, as we do, we read from the complete works of Swami Vivekachudamani. Yes.
I'm reading from Maya and Illusion. This is true of all sense enjoyments, of all intellectual enjoyments, and of all the enjoyments of which the human mind is capable. They are nothing. They are within Maya, within this network beyond which we cannot go. We may run therein through infinite time and find no end. And whenever we struggle to get a little enjoyment, a mass of misery falls upon us. How awful is this? And when I think of it, I cannot but consider that this theory of Maya, this statement that it is all Maya, is the best and only explanation. What an amount of misery there is in this world. And if you travel among various nations, you will find that one nation attempts to cure its evil by one means and another by another means. The very same evil has been taken up by various races, and attempts have been made in various ways to check it. Yet no nation has succeeded. If it has been minimized at one point, a massive evil has been crowded at another point. Thus it goes. The Hindus, to keep up a high standard of chastity in the race, have sanctioned child marriage, which in the long run has degraded the race. At the same time, and I cannot deny that this child marriage makes the race more chaste. What would you have? If you want the nation to be more chaste, you weaken men and women physically by child marriage. On the other hand, are you in England any better off? No, because chastity is the life of a nation. Do you not find in history that the first death sign of a nation has been unchastity? When that has entered, the end of the race is in sight. Where shall we get a solution of these miseries then? If parents select husbands and wives for their children, then this evil is minimized. The daughters of India are more practical than sentimental, but very little of poetry remains in their lives. Again, if people select their own husbands and wives, that does not seem to bring much happiness. The Indian woman is generally very happy. There are not many cases of quarreling between husband and wife. On the other hand, in the United States, where the greatest liberty obtains, the number of unhappy homes and marriages is large. Unhappiness is here, there, and everywhere. What does it show? That after all, not much happiness has been gained by all these ideals. We all struggle for happiness, and as soon as we get a little happiness on one side, on the other side, there comes unhappiness. Shall we not work to do good then? Yes, with more zest than ever. But what this knowledge will do for us is to break down our fanaticism. The Englishman will no more be a fanatic and curse the Hindu. He will learn to respect the customs of different nations. There will be less of fanaticism and more of real work. Fanatics cannot work. They waste 3/4 of their energy. It is the level-headed, calm, practical man who works. So the power to work will increase from this idea. Knowing that this is the state of things, there will be more patience. The sight of misery or of evil will not be able to throw us off our balance and make us run after shadows. Therefore, patience will come to us, knowing that the world will have to go on in its own way. If, for instance, all men have become good, the animals will have in the meantime evolved into men and will have to pass through the same state, and so with the plants. But only one thing is certain. The mighty river is rushing towards the ocean, and all the drops that constitute the stream will in time be drawn into that boundless ocean. So in this life, with all its miseries and sorrows, its joys and smiles and tears, one thing is certain, that all things are rushing towards their goal. And it is only a question of time when you and I, and plants and animals, and every particle of life that exists must reach the infinite ocean of perfection, must attain to freedom, to God.
In the first paragraph, Swami says, when one is within Maya, then it is natural that one suffers. It may be possible that suffering is from grosser to subtler as civilization grows. The suffering becomes subtler and subtler. An illiterate person may not mind if someone scolds even. But when a person is educated, even a little harsh word may destabilize him. Even he may commit suicide. So this is one thing. And secondly, in this world, it's like a gym, like a school. Here, a fresh batch comes when one attains the highest. The first batch, when they attain highest. So here, Swamiji says that like animals become like that gradually they would evolve into higher being. So here we can see this transformation happens, but until or unless one goes beyond this Maya, one cannot get the experience and get rid of all miseries. So that is important. Yes.
Let me repeat once more that the Vedantic position is neither pessimism nor optimism. It does not say that this world is all evil or all good. It says that our evil is of no less value than our good, and our good of no more value than our evil. They are bound together. This is the world, and knowing this, you work with patience. What for? Why should we work? If this is the state of things, what shall we do? Why not become agnostics? The modern agnostics also know there is no solution of this problem, no getting out of this evil of Maya, as we say in our language. Therefore, they tell us to be satisfied and enjoy life. Here again is a mistake, a tremendous mistake, a most illogical mistake. And it is this: what do you mean by life? Do you mean only the life of the senses? In this, every one of us differs only slightly from the brutes. I am sure that no one is present here whose life is only in the senses. Then this present life means something more than that. Our feelings, thoughts, and aspirations are all part and parcel of our life, and is not the struggle towards the area, ideal, towards perfection, one of the most important components of what we call life? According to the agnostics, we must enjoy life as it is. But this life means, above all, the search after the ideal. The essence of life is going towards perfection. We must have that, and therefore we cannot be agnostics or take the world as it appears. The agnostic position takes this life, minus the ideal component, to be all that exists, and this, the agnostic claims, cannot be reached. Therefore, he must give up the search. This is what is called Maya, this nature, this universe.
So here, the differences will be there because it is all relative. Then what is to be done? We are to try. There is no other way. Until or unless we realize our own self, there is no end of this cyclic movement. So here, what we are studying, here the disciple has experienced that highest. And therefore, this world also, for a moment, disappeared. Where he asks, where is that world I saw just now? Adhunaiva maya drishta. Abhi, just now I saw. Where is this world? In that state, there is no darkness, no shadow. As you reach the sun, darkness cannot exist there. So when one reaches the consciousness, which is awareness, in that state, there cannot be darkness. What happens to the realized souls who come back? They impose on themselves. It is like an actor who knows that he is not what he is playing. He's playing a beggar's role. He knows that he's not a beggar, but he imitates a role of a beggar. So similarly, a realized soul, an incarnation of God, they impose exactly like human being. As Rama wept for Sita, like an ordinary person. But in his heart of heart, he knew that all these are play, divine play. That's why we call it Leela. People may argue, it is Leela for him, and it is crime for us. Yes. Why? Because he has that awareness that he is not what he's playing. Though he may imitate exactly like us, but for ordinary people, they have not realized. And therefore, it is difficult for them. So anyway, what happens here? Let us go forward. So we have already done 534. Veda Shastra Puranani Bhutani Sakalanyapi Yenarthavanti Tam Kim no Vigyataram Prakashayet. How can one know the knower? See, knowledge means we have something objective, not objective knowledge. It is not like that. Vigyataram are kena vijaniya. By what we know the knower. Actually, in knowledge, that awareness is already built in. It's not like objective knowledge. It is subjective. Sakrut vibhati. In one flash, it happens. Therefore, it is not knowledge that we are familiar with. It is like, we cut jokes. So there is a pun line and we make a show, and then all of a sudden we say, oh, and then we realize and we are full of joy. I was in Australia, New Zealand. So they say that they have rivalry, Australian and New Zealanders. So when they reached God, then they said, okay, to Australian, that you see, you'll have to be slashed, say, 10 times. But you can fulfill one of your desire. He said, sir, I'm ready to get 30 slashes. So what is your desire to be fulfilled? He said, please bind that New Zealander on my back. So when it is thrashing, that means he will receive the thrashing. So what's the point? See, a story is built and then the fun point is said. That time that realization comes and we feel joy. Yeah, catchphrase. So that means it is a kind of realization. When one is imagining what is going to happen, and then the pun line or catchphrase is told, immediately we understand, and then that is a joy. So this is Sakrit Vibhati, a kind of realization. So here we cannot know by any other means. It is self-effulgent. We know it by itself. So awareness, this is what. So that's what it has been said. Now we go to the next. We have already done, so we go to the next. Yeah, 535. Eshah Swayam Jyotihi Ananta Shaktiratma Aprameyah Sakhalanubhutihi Yameva Vigyaya Vimukta Bandho Jayatyayam Brahma Viduttamattamaha. So first the translation is, here is the self-effulgent Atman of infinite power beyond the range of conditioned knowledge. Beyond the range of conditioned knowledge and self-effulgent Atman. It is not that we know ourselves with some other means. Even if you are in darkness, you know that you are there. You don't need a flashlight or a torch to know that where am I? Because it is self-effulgent. It is not required. No other means are required to know yourself. So here the self-effulgent Atman of infinite power. Now infinite power, how is it infinite? Because whatever we do, whatever we understand, it's all because of our awareness, consciousness. Or if we want to say more correctly, then it is the source of consciousness, source of awareness. Because awareness can be indicated, awareness can be, at least we can understand. But what is the source of awareness, source of consciousness? That is there, of infinite power. It has all power. Whatever advancement that we see in the world, it is this awareness. And what wonders that we see, even within atom, so much of power is residing. It's all because of our awareness that we understand and we can demonstrate. And then beyond the range of conditioned knowledge, it's not relative knowledge. It is not compared with something. It cannot be compared. Tasya bhasa sarvamidam bhivat. When it shines, everything shines. When you are there, all the world is manifested. When you are there, your dream is, it looks like it is true. So yet, the common experience of all, realizing which alone, this incomparable knower of Brahman lives his glorious life, freed from bondage. So what happens when a person lives? When he realizes his own real self. So all the bondages are removed. Yameva vijnaya vimukta bandho jayatyayam brahma viduttamattamaha. Who is knower of Brahman? Brahmavit uttamattamaha. So Brahmavit, Brahmavit Vara, Brahmavit Varishta. So these are various categories. But there is no difference in knowledge. Only difference in manifesting that knowledge. Say Brahman, a person knower of Brahman, he does not interact in this world. So he is Brahmavit. But if he interacts with the world and shares others' sorrows and tries to ameliorate them, then it is Brahmavit Vara. And Brahmavit Vidottama, who is Uttama, who tries his best to remove the ignorance of others. That is why Sri Swami Vivekananda, like Avatar Varishthay, Rama Krishnaya Te Namah. So Avatar Varishtha, because he is the supreme Avatara. He tried his best to remove, even trying his best to remove all our miseries. So Yesha Swayam Jyoti, so self-effulgent, Ananta Shakti, eternal power. Atma ayam aprameya. It cannot be measured. How much power he has received now. But this category, Brahmavit, Brahmavidat Vara, Brahmavit Uttama, this is only in manifestation. Sakalanubhuti, Yameva Vigyaya Vimukta Bandho Jayatyam. So he wins over and removes all his bondages. Such is Brahmavit Uttamaha. Let me read it again. Here is the self-effulgent Atman of infinite power, beyond the range of conditioned knowledge, yet the common experience of all, realizing which alone this incomparable knower of Brahman lives his glorious life, freed from bondage. We go to the next. Na khidyate, no vishayehi pramodate. Na khidyate, na vishayehi pramodati na sajjate napi virajyate cha. Swasmin sada kridati nandati swayam nirantarananda rasena triptaha. So what happens then when one realizes, satisfied with undiluted, constant bliss, he is neither grieved nor elated by sense objects, he is neither attached nor averse to them, but always disports with the self and takes pleasure therein. So, is there any example? Yes. What is example? Shudham deha vyatham tyaktva balah krirati vastuni tathaiva vidwan ramati nirmamo niraham sukhi. A child plays with its toys, forgetting hunger and bodily pains, exactly as does the man of realization take pleasure in the reality without ideas of I or mine and is happy. So because even children, they play with all the difficulties. They are not mindful and when they forget eating. And sometimes grown up people also forget eating. Not only that, suppose a person is suffering from cancer, he goes to sleep, he forgets his suffering. I saw a mother, his only son had terminating cancer, and she was so infatuated. And it was a great shock. The whole day he would chant either many shlokas and praises of God, but same mother would sleep in the night. So even normal people also can be detached from suffering. Similarly, it is possible for the knower of self that they are totally bereft of all suffering. It is like somebody else suffering, but they will show like they are suffering. That way, they can be sympathetic to others. Bhagavan Buddha also felt the suffering, and in 4th Arya Satya, he said, there is suffering. When one is in the midst of this Maya, suffering is verily experienced. And when it is experienced, we cannot deny. And therefore, we should try to go away from it. That is why all sadhana, all practices, spiritual practices are practiced. But once he goes beyond that suffering, then nothing, no suffering can touch him. Even what about suffering in touching? He will totally forget that I am suffering or the person is suffering. Na khidyate na vishayehi pramodat, na sajjate napi virajyate cha. Not only that, he also like a not elation. He is in bliss. So satisfied with undiluted, constant bliss. He is neither grieved nor elated. Sukhe dukhe samay kritva labha labho jaya jaya. So that is the state. Tato yuddha yujjasva naivam papam avapsasi. So one should go beyond this dual throng. So, satisfied with undiluted constant bliss, he is neither grieved nor elated by sense objects. He is neither attached. See, like, suppose somebody brought a bad news that your friend has died and you are grieving. All of a sudden, he comes and says, no, 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 I'm sorry. I gave you a wrong information. It's not your friend, but that's Thomas's friend. So then you'll not grieve. Similarly, one knows that it is not related to me, whatever happens. Shudham deha vyatha tyaktva balah kriyati vastuni tathaiva vidwan ramate nirmamo niraham sukhi. A child plays with its toys, forgetting hunger and bodily pains. Exactly so does the man of realization take pleasure in the reality without ideas of I or mine and is happy. So we go to the next. Yeah, verse 538. Chinta shunyam dainyam dainya vaiksham asanam panam saridvarishu swatantrena nirankusha sthiti rabhi nidra smashane bane vastram kshalanam shoshanadi rahitam digvastu sayyamahi sancharo nigamanta vithishu vidam pira pare brahman. So for the translation, what happens to him? Men of realization have their food without anxiety or humiliation by begging, and their drink from the water of rivers. One Brahmagyani came to Dakshineshwar, and he was eating food and sharing with the dog. And then Sri Ramakrishna recognized him and he said, "Say Brahmagyani." And Hriday wanted to pursue him to get some knowledge. He said, "Sir, please give me some knowledge." But um, he was going away, and when Hriday pursued more, then he scared him and said, "Get out." Please. And then he went away. Not only that, even Sri Ramakrishna, when he had that divine unmad, the divine madness, he also was taking a bamboo and walking up and down, and also never hesitated to share the food with dog. But you see, like this is a different kind of experience where people of realization, they see that all are one. It is not dog. It is to be hated. No. So men of realization have their food without anxiety or humiliation by begging. Begging is pure. For sannyasis, begging is pure because it is not putting any pressure on anyone. So this is one way. Another is whatever is begging, after begging, whatever is obtained, that is offered to God. So all faults are all faults are removed. All say dosha, all kinds of touch or from a wrong person, whatever comes, the dosha is removed from that food. That's why begging is very, very pure. And they drink from the water of rivers. They live freely and independently and sleep without fear. In cremation grounds or forest, their clothing may be the quarters. That means even they are naked, as Sri Ramakrishna's guru. When Sri Ramakrishna sometimes would put his clothes under his armpit. So he is not mindful about the world, which need no washing and drying or any bark, etc. When they would come to the locality, they would put some bark, etc. It is for others. For them, there is no difference. The earth is their bed. They roam in the avenue of the Vedanta while they are pastime is in the Supreme Brahman. Now one may argue, what is this fun? They are suffering because of even lack of minimum living condition. But that is not the case. They are full of joy. Even those who have money, they are not without anxiety, without worries. But such a person is without worry. Whatever comes, whatever chance brings. And like mother brings everything. So it is not that they go hungry or minimum sustenance they don't get. They get everything. But they are not uh, particular about anything. There is no set rule for them. So it is like, let's say, some are exceptionals. Like president has no rules. They go beyond all rules. So similar. निस्त्रैगुण्य पथि विचरंतो को विधि को निषेध. निस्त्रैगुण्य पथि विचरंतः को विधि को निषेध. So such a person, there is no vidhi nishedha, that this is to be done or this he should not do. They are free, totally free. We go to the next, 539. Vimanam alambhya shariram etat Vimanam alambhya shariram etat bhunakyasheshan vishayanupasthitan परिच्छया बालवत आत्मवित्ता यो अव्यक्त लिंगो अननुशक्त वाह्य. Another example comes to our mind is Raman Maharshi. He's happy with simple, loincloth. The main thing is happiness. Main thing is the bliss where one dwells. He's not worried. So here, the knower of the Atman. So this is the signs and symptoms. What happens to such a person? Because after realization, what happens to them? That is being said here. The knower of Atman who wears no outward mark and is unattached to external things, rests on the body without identification, and experiences all sorts of sense objects as they come through others' wish, like a child. So, such a person, what happens? They have no desire of their own. Say, like as Sri Ramakrishna, say, my richa, as mother wishes. So, he's happy. He said, I am a Paramhamsa. Paramhamsa need a mother. And mother takes all care. That means God takes all care. Vimanam alambhya. So what is that? That means that this body, they have no identification with the body. It is all divine. Inside, outside, it is all divine. Asheshan upasthitan vishayan. And whatever comes without any effort, that means yadrichhalava santushto dandvatito vimatsar. Whatever comes by the will of God, they are happy with that. Like in India, we have some monks who are karapatris. They don't even have a vessel for their bhiksha, only hands. So when someone cooks and they beg, so this is whatever comes there. That much only they will eat. And after that, they will wash their hands. Karpatri. So such people are there. Uh, what happens to Ramakrishna Mission Swamis when some Brahmagyanis are there? They also depend wholly on Thakur or Holy Mother. So such realized souls also, uh, like Swami Virajananji or many other Swamis. Even it is said that Velur Math will never be bereft of Brahmagyanis. And we can extend that the Ramakrishna order will never be without or bereft or without of any Brahmagyanis. Swami Sarvagatananji was blessed with that. Tuyo Paramahamsa Hovi. So, what like this Ramakrishna order has got Brahmagyanis, but they are not, they will not show their that state. Rather, they are happy wherever they are. Okay, we go to the next. Digambaro vapi cha sambaro va tagambaro vapi chidambarastha unnat vadapi vadvapi cha balavat va vishach vadvapi charat charatyavan charati eva anyam. That means Brahmagya, sometimes they may be naked and with sometimes very nice dress. Digambaro, even Swami Vivekananda, when he traveled in India, sometimes he's in a palace, but sometimes he's in a hut also. And with minimum even clothing. Sometimes for days he was not given any food. At least it happened 2 or 3 times. For consecutive 3 days, he was not given any food or drink. So they are happy in all situations. Established in the eternal plane of absolute knowledge, he wanders in the world, sometimes like a madman, sometimes like a child, and other times like a ghoul, having no other clothes on his person except the quarters, or sometimes wearing clothes, or perhaps skins at other times. It happened in Vrindavan when Swami Vivekananda was bathing. The monkeys took away his clothing and nothing was there. He said, okay, no problem. So he started walking. Then another person came and said, Swamiji, please take this cloth. And then he took. Once it happened that he was bit picked with Radharani. And he said, I'm not going to beg from anyone. Let me see. If you are so kind, then you'll feed me. So he was walking. And as he was going on, a person called Swamiji, Swamiji, please take this food. Swamiji did not stop. Then he was walking towards Swamiji and Swamiji started running and he also was chasing Swamiji. So this happened. And this is not solitary examples. This happened with so many people. Even nowadays, people go for Narmada Parikrama. Narmada is a river like Ganga. And there one place, it's called Shulpani Jhadi. So the local people come and take all your belongings, everything, whatever you have, everything they will take. But as you cross that Shulpani Jhadi, the other side, again everything is given. A new set, of course, not that same thing. So there, even they take away the, the clothes also. Digambaro vapi sambaro va, Dogambaro vapi chidambaras. Because they are in chidambara, they are in consciousness. They are covered with consciousness, as it were. Therefore, they don't worry about outer garments. Sri Ramakrishna also. And sometimes they like walking like a child. Digambaro vapi sambaro va. And sometimes they are Mathur Babu. He said, Mathur, Mathur Babu arranged everything for him, and he took the shawl, very costly shawl, and he wore it. After 2 minutes, he said, "Start! Oh, this is Rajasi," and started spitting on it. And then he stepped on it. So, what is being said? They are not interested in outer show. Unmattva vadapi va balavat. Yes, Sri Ramakrishna, we can see all these things. Pishachavat, Pishachavat vapi. Charatya avanyam. Charati avanyam. Hmm. 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 Doesn't matter. This is called when one is included, all are included. There is a in every verse you cannot include everything. There may be something is left left out, but that is taken. Then we go to the next. Kama nishkama rupi sancharatyeka charo muni swatmanaiva sadatushtaha swayam sarvatmana sthita. What happens to him? The sage living alone enjoys the sense objects being the very, actually sense is not sense objects. Whatever comes by the will of God, they only take that much. Kama nishkama rupi. So nishkama rupi kama. It is not sense object. Nishkama rupi kama. Kama nishkama rupi saranteka eka charo munihi. Swatmanaiva sadatushtaha swayam sarvatmana stha. Because he is in everything. So whatever comes, he is without any attachment. It is not savage life. It is the highest life. It may look like similar, but it is the most cultured life. Because for him, there is no other existence but consciousness, awareness, or source of that. Like children, they have no pretense. As Sri Ramakrishna gave example, like is it all washed? So a child would show his bottom. And similarly, there is no pretense. As Sri Ramakrishna also, once it happened, Raja, somebody had a title Raja. He said, "I cannot tell you Raja, king, because I know that's wrong. That's not right." So there is no outer show of uh, that limitation. Everything is normal for him. And Sri Ramakrishna, like went to that Jadu Malik. Said, "Why you keep all these buffoons? And they want some money from you." Then he immediately told, "It is because of you. You will redeem them." Anyway, the main thing is they are like children, like child, not childish, childlike, because they are beyond three gunas. They are not bound by three gunas. So we go to the next for this time. Okay. Anyway, these are some signs and symptoms where we see. Just we can go quickly. Kaman nishkama rupi sancharati kacharo munihi swatmanaiva sada tushtaha swayam sarvatmana sthitaha kaschin mudho vidwan kvachidapi maharaj vibhavah क्वचित भ्रांतः सौम्यः क्वचित जगराचार कलितः क्वचित पात्रीभूतः क्वचित अवमतः प्राप्य विदितः चरत्येव प्राज्ञः सतत परमानंद उत्थितः. So what are these? These are various situations where their behavior pattern is completely without any attachment. Yeah. Sometimes a fool, sometimes a sage, sometimes possessed of regal splendor, sometimes wandering, sometimes behaving like a motionless python. See, like here, Jalavar. Sometimes wearing a benignant expression, sometimes honored, sometimes insulted, sometimes unknown. This Ramakrishna was kicked, but he did not say anything. And sometimes even in gospel you read asking questions like a child, what will happen? Then M comes to his rescue and says, no, no. He asked whether should I put button? Will that be rude? He said, no, nothing. No, don't worry about it. Then he was assured. So all kinds of things we see. It is not that they do mindfully. It is natural for them. What I said that it's not that they pretend like that. Rather, it is normal and normal behavior. So sometimes wearing a benignant expression, sometimes honored, sometimes insulted, sometimes unknown. Thus lives the man of realization. You are free. You are happy with supreme bliss. We'll stop here. So this is the highest state. Is there any question? No. This is the highest state, so no questions. We'll say a prayer. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tassat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Yeah, one question was possible that the signs and symptoms that we see is like a mad person. Then why should we strive? It looks like that, but he's fully aware of his real self. He does not bother about outer show. That is why. And why we should study this? Because then we are beyond all misery, all worries, all anxieties. That is why we should cultivate this.
Namaste, Swamiji.